Hi, my name is Nicholas Henke, and I go to Southwestern Assemblies of God University, and this is a video research presentation for my American History class 113-200. For my topic, I've decided to talk about Thomas Edison, so I'm just going to talk a little bit about what his life was like and what he accomplished. So Thomas Edison was born on February 11th, 1847 in Millen, Ohio. His family often called him Alva, and he was the youngest of 7 kids. When he was 7, his family moved to Michigan to try to improve their financial state that they were in. But Edison was able to begin his schooling at the age of 8, because before that he had developed scarlet fever after the move, and he was unable to start schooling until he turned 8. He had a rough start in the small schoolhouse that he was in, and he was unhappy and failing most of his classes, so his mom decided to take him out of the schoolhouse, and she began homeschooling him instead. The family started to thrive as Thomas had access to their entire library. He even had some of Isaac Newton's writings in there that he was able to study. Then he was able to have a laboratory in the basement where he could work through some of his practice experiments that he had. But although money was still tight for the Edison family, Thomas had to get his first job at age 12, which, to me seems crazy. He got a job selling newspapers on the railway line. Edison began writing and publishing his own paper called the Weekly Herald. It was the first paper to ever be printed on a train, which is pretty cool. He even had his own lab in one of the train cars that he could conduct his experiments. He began learning a lot about the life on the train, including the telegraph. Edison learned so much about this that he even developed one of his own. He was later kicked off the railroad and became a telegraph operator at Western Union. He worked at Western Union during the night, and during the day he worked in his basement lab. In 1869, Edison received his first patent, which was a really big deal. It was for an automated vote counting machine. He continued working on his inventions, but still made time to get married to Mary Stilwell, who was just 16 years old at the time, and Edison was 24. But they went to have 6 kids altogether. And during this time, Edison invented many new things, one of which was the well-known fire alarm that we still use every day. His work eventually paid off, and he received $40,000, which back then was a crazy amount of money. He received that from Western Union in return for all of the many contributions he made towards the telegraph technology. This allowed Edison to start a full-time workshop for his work in Newark, New Jersey. He had much success here, and very soon he moved his studies to a much bigger laboratory in Menlo Park, New Jersey. There he employed several assistants who would work by his side long into the nights. Soon Edison would receive a patent for the invention that made him famous, which was the phonograph. This device used a cylinder that would be scratched to record sound. He would shout into the device. Sometimes he would say, "Mary had a little lamb," and then the machine, he could make it repeat back to him. Now we get to the part of his life that most of us are familiar with him, and that's where he invented the electric light bulb. Many scientists were working towards this at the time because it was such a simple concept, but Edison would be the first to succeed in this. You might wonder how Edison managed to beat everyone else at it. And the answer is pretty simple. Edison had money. Edison had plenty of people and resources in his lab to make this simple concept a reality. Edison used to say genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. They tried hundreds of designs, all different shapes and sizes that they needed, but they really needed something that would get it hot and get it to glow, but not so hot that it would burn up. Their answer became a sewing thread covered in soot. His bulb would last for an incredible 40 hours, which was crazy at the time. In 1879, Thomas Edison and Joseph Swan were jointly awarded the patent. Swan had simultaneously developed a very similar design, so this was the compromise to share the patent. It was called the carbon thread incandescent lamp. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, that was the life of Thomas Edison up to the point where we recognize him and know him from. So, hope you learned something. Hope it was good. Thanks.